1 week ago, I lost my beloved German Shepherd, Ophelia, to bloat. Yes, me, an experienced dog owner of nearly 35 years. I've raised Dobermans, Labs, Shepherds, other breeds, from puppies to seniors, trained them, loved them, and still I was blindsided by this silent, insidious, devastating killer. But to understand how hard this hit, you have to know who Ophelia was. She wasn't the dog I planned on. I had a deposit on a puppy from the breeder I got Olympia from 12 years ago. Then I saw a dog on their website, 5 years old, retired from breeding, beautiful, regal, composed, and I thought, well, I already have 3 dogs under the age of 2. Maybe an older dog will balance my household of younger pups. I brought my male shepherd Nabucco with me, and we drove the 3 hours to the breeder. Right away, I noticed the breeder's operation had grown significantly since I first got Olympia from them 12 years earlier. That was my first red flag. We met Rita, as she was known. No greeting, no tail wag, no curiosity. Didn't approach Nabucco, just paced, quiet, withdrawn. German Shepherds are a very intuitive breed. And I told myself, she's just sensing change. I asked the breeder questions, got acceptable answers, but something inside me whispered, don't, don't. But I didn't listen. Adopting a dog is a balancing act between your head, your heart, and your instincts. And in this case, my heart overruled everything. I decided to adopt her, and we all drove home. But it was when we got home, that's when reality hit. She had never lived indoors, never lived in a home, didn't understand stairs, nearly crashed through a glass door. She was afraid of the TV, the blender, every household sound seemed to terrify her. She didn't know how to be a dog. No toys, no play, barked almost constantly, and she could pace around that kitchen island 20 minutes at a time nonstop. And she didn't want affection. Sometimes she'd let me pet her, other times she'd flinch and run. I wanted her to be like my other shepherds, devoted, intuitive, affectionate, playful. She wasn't. And I'll admit, I thought I'd made a mistake. But over time, I let go of who I thought she should be, and I started loving her as she was, loving her on her terms. She never came upstairs at night with the other dogs, preferring to remain downstairs by herself. She finally got used to Nabucco and started to play with him and the other pups. But when we went for walks, she was always following 5 steps behind me and Nabucco. She followed, always behind. Then came the day it happened. Around 5 p.m., she was barking at the fence at the neighbor's golden doodle, who had a nasty habit of charging the fence and running away. Always wound my crew up. Ophelia continued to bark, all wound up. I brought the dogs inside and I rested them. 2.5 hours later, around 7:30, dinner was served, kibble with roasted chicken, also floated in water, raised feeder, like always. An hour later, Ophelia tried to vomit. Twice. Nothing came up. Took a drink of water, tried to lie down, up and down, restless. I went over to her, felt her on her tummy, her sides, rock hard, and I knew immediately. Bloat. I called the ER. I drove her 5 minutes to the clinic. Thank God it was only 5 minutes. I could see she was in pain as she was beginning to drool as I coaxed her out of the car. Inside the clinic, they rushed her to the x-ray. The vet returned in 5 minutes. He saw a lot of air, gas buildup. Her stomach had twisted into the spleen, and yes, it was bloat. Emergency surgery was an option, $7,000. No guarantees she'd survive. I'd lost a lab, on the operating table in 2020. I wasn't going through that again. She was 6 weeks shy of her 10th birthday. I made the decision every dog owner dreads, the decision to euthanize. So I could have a little more time with her, the vet drained some fluid to ease the pressure. We were alone in a room. I held her, talked to her, stroked her. And when the time came, I held her, telling her I loved her as she passed calmly and gently in my arms. Here's what I need you to know. Bloat doesn't care how experienced a dog owner you are. You can do everything right and still lose a dog. Any dog can bloat, but the deep-chested breeds like the Shepherds, the Danes, the Dobermans, Weimaraners, Vizslas, Pointers are especially at risk. So know the signs. Retching with no vomit, hard distended stomach, pacing, drooling, restlessness, refusal to lie down, or just simply collapse. If you even think it might be bloat, go to the ER as fast as you can. Don't wait, don't Google for advice, don't post online, don't text the family, just get to the ER as fast as you can. You know, Ophelia was never the shepherd I imagined. She wasn't warm, moderately playful, not so eager to please. She lived on her terms, but she was always nearby me, quiet, watchful, present. She changed me. She taught me how to love without expectation, how to create safety for a soul who'd never known it. She was never the kind of dog that gave you her heart all at once, but in the end, she gave me maybe something better, her trust. I'd lost 6 dogs in 12 years. Each one broke my heart, but losing Ophelia, this was different because I had to earn her. And in the end, I think I did. Rest well, sweet Ophi. You mattered. You always did.